What's up, everybody? Jerry Scarlato here with another episode of Thriveology 101. And today is the first day of the new year, the first official Thriveology 101 of the new year, I should say. The first day was definitely longer than a week ago, so that's a total lie. Nonetheless, I have my Cold Feet Club shirt on today. I know many of you are jealous of this. Shout out to Miss Elaine who got this for Christmas for me. We have a little club going on where we go out, walk around in the cold grass first thing in the morning to get a little invigorated, get a little earthing going on, get some electrons running through the body to help heal it in a natural kind of way. Nonetheless, before I dive too deeply into that nerdiness, today I will begin the series on the 12 myths of aging. The 12 myths of aging. These aren't the only 12 myths of aging, but we're going to cover 12 of the things that most people believe about aging and that most people think are inevitable about aging, and talk about what that means, what each one means, and why it is a myth and how you can overcome the myth in the first place. So the first one that we're going to talk about today is probably the most talked about myth, and that is that the metabolism slows down as you age and that there's nothing you can do about it, and that's why that's why we get heavy as we age, that's why we put on fat easier. And the truth of the matter is, this is somewhat correct. Not to the extent that we believe that it is correct. However, with all of the things that we're going to talk about when it comes to aging, they are all true. So as I say that they are myths, they are only myths to the extent that you allow them to be myths. Of course, the body, once it gets to about the age of 30, 35, does start to decline. It does start to slow down. However, it only slows down to the extent that we allow it to slow down. So metabolism is certainly a perfect example of that. The metabolism does naturally slow down as you age. There is nothing that you can do about the slowing down of the metabolism. There is only something that you can do to the speed at which the metabolism does slow down. So with that being said, what is metabolism in the first place? What is this thing that everyone talks about that is this mythical creature of inside of you that causes you to put on weight or causes you to lose muscle or causes you to do whatever it is, the things that you think that the metabolism does? Simply, your metabolism is all the processes in your body that kind of keeps you up and running and burns the energy in your body. So your metabolism is actually made up of a bunch of different processes, but it's made up of all the active organs and processes in your body that keeps your body moving, keeps your body burning energy, basically to the extent that keeps you alive and up and running. Now, what most of us are concerned about, and whenever we talk about our metabolism slowing down, and that's why we put on fat, most of us are concerned about our resting metabolic rate, or RMR. This is kind of the biggest part of your metabolism that you can have an impact on. But your RMR, your resting metabolic rate, is the amount of energy that you burned at rest. It's the amount of energy that you burn while you're sitting and doing nothing. So for instance, if all you did was sat around today, well, let's go back to New Year's Day. So probably most people after New Year's Eve were out partying and being crazy. On New Year's Day, just sat around and did nothing. And if that was you, that's okay. We're allowed to rest and recover. If you sat around and did nothing all day on New Year's Eve, the amount of calories, the amount of energy that you burned during that time is your resting metabolic rate. Okay, that's the basic definition of it. So this is where we can have the biggest impact on our metabolism. And the reason that this is a myth is because the reason that our resting metabolic rate slows down, the reason that our metabolism slows down, is that we become more sedentary as we get into our age, as we get into our later years. And it's not even later years per se, it's starting earlier and earlier. So even in high school, middle school, we're already sitting, but we're lucky enough to be active, whether we're playing in sports or going outside and being outside. Once we get out of college and once we get into our working years, that's when we start to become sedentary. And that's when this metabolism slowing down starts to set in, if you will. And this is around the age of 25, between 25 and 30 for most of us. This is when the metabolism slowing down starts to set in. And that's because we're sitting less, being less active, and most importantly, losing musculature as we age. So we're going to talk about 3 things that you can do to kind of overcome this process. But when we become less active, as we become less active, our metabolism doesn't have to be as efficient at burning energy. There's no reason for it to feel like it has to keep up and has to burn all these calories that you're taking in. We take in more calories as we get older, or we take in the same amount of calories as we did in our 20s, which is a problem because we eat a lot in our 20s, and then as we move less and less, but if we maintain our calorie intake, then we're burning less calories than what we're taking in, which is a big issue. Now, calories in, calories out is a whole nother topic in and of itself, which I'm not going to get into. But nonetheless, there's some degree of making sure not to take in as many calories as you are burning. But if you are not moving as much and not as physically active, then your metabolism is just going to downregulate itself to an extent, meaning it just doesn't need to burn as much energy. It just doesn't need to be as efficient and as effective. So therefore, it's just kind of like it downregulates. Now, that's a simple way to put it. That's not the technical way to explain it, but that's basically what happens. The other thing that happens is that you start to lose muscle mass. Your muscle mass is the most active energy burner of your body, if you will. The muscle in your body is what basically burns calories. It's a big part of what burns calories and makes energy and produces energy in your body. Therefore, the less muscle mass that you have, the less effective and less efficient you are at producing energy, aka burning the energy, burning the calories that you're taking in. So that's basically why the metabolism slowing down is a myth, is because it only slows down to the extent that you become less active and that you start to have less active tissue on your body. And like I said, active tissue is the muscle that you have attached to you. So with that being said, let's look at a couple ways that you can start to overcome this slowing down of the metabolism so that you can fight it and so that you can have a more efficient and effective metabolism. And improve, like I said, your resting metabolic rate is the one that you really want to kind of harp on here. Your resting metabolic rate is the one that you want to improve, the amount of calories that you burn at rest, because admittedly, we're not active all day, every day. We shouldn't necessarily be active all day, every day. We do need to rest and recover. We do spend most of our time not being physically active. Doesn't even matter if you're a super active kind of person, you're going to spend a lot of time less active. So that's where we want to kind of put the bulk of our energy. 3 things that we're going to talk about to help increase your metabolism or make it more effective and more efficient. Number 1 is to incorporate a movement hygiene practice into your life. Movement hygiene is basically the practice of getting up on a regular basis throughout the day. What you're going to do is set a 25-minute timer, and every time that timer goes off, every 25 minutes, you're going to get up and you're going to move. Now, it doesn't necessarily matter what you do, but you're going to do something for about 2 or 3 minutes. You're going to get up and move. It's going to be about 2 or 3 minutes. You're going to sit down and you're going to do it again. Now, I'm going to encourage you to pick an exercise that you want to do every time that you get up. It can be your favorite exercise. It doesn't really matter what it was, but pick an exercise and pick amount of reps that you want to complete within that amount of time. So for instance, if your goal is to get a stronger core, then maybe every time that you get up and you do a 30-second plank, and then you get up and walk around a little bit, because you have to take up 2 to 3 minutes. If you can do a 2 or 3 minute plank, then bravo to you. But nonetheless, if you want to get up and you want to plank for 30 seconds, you can do that. You can, of course, do push-ups. You can do 5 push-ups, 10 push-ups, or if you want to do body squats or squat jumps or burpees. Again, it doesn't really matter what the exercise is. What matters is that you're getting up out of the chair, you're forcing yourself to move for 2 or 3 minutes, getting back down and doing it again. Okay, that's going to reset your body. It's going to tell your body that it has to start burning energy again and that it has to keep moving. So that way it's not keeping that downregulated metabolism going on. Okay, so that's the first practice that you're going to implement, is your movement hygiene practice. The second thing that you can do, and this we're going to talk about more in depth in another myth down the road, but I'm going to introduce it here, and it's the idea of metabolic flexibility. Metabolic flexibility is basically your body's ability to either burn carbs or burn fats, basically be flexible in what it's using to produce energy. The issue is, because most of us take in way too many carbs, be that in sugar or whatever it might be, but most of us take in too many carbs than what we actually need. And because of that, our bodies are not metabolically flexible. They're trying to burn up all these carbs. It has enough glucose stored away that it can just burn glucose to produce the energy that it needs. But your body should be able to also burn the fat on it so that you can get rid of the fat, and that way your body is metabolically flexible, and which means it's healthier. If your body's able to do both, if your body's able to produce energy in a number of ways, then it's healthier. The metabolism is healthier. So a better way to do this, and like I said, I'm going to talk about this more in depth down the road, but a good way to do this to improve your metabolic flexibility is to incorporate some HIIT training. HIIT training is just basic interval training, so you can do 20 seconds of an exercise or 20 seconds on a bike, rest for 40 seconds, and do that 4 or 5 times. Okay, so this is a basic way to do that. It's not going to be the most effective way to improve your metabolic flexibility, but that's somewhere to start. Another way that you can do that is, of course, lower your carbohydrate intake. I would encourage you strongly to eliminate all processed sugars from your diet, to eliminate all processed foods from your diet as much as you can. And that way to allow your body to learn how to burn more fat and not rely totally on carbohydrates and glucose. And those are just a couple of ways that you can kind of start to change your metabolism so that it's able to burn calories, it's able to burn the fat on your body, and it's able to utilize a couple of different substrates in order to produce energy. So that's the second thing when it comes to improving your metabolism and making it more efficient, is metabolic flexibility. The third thing is the most important, and the thing that everyone needs to work on no matter what your age is, and that is keeping the amount of lean mass that you have on your body, and or trying to increase the amount of lean mass that you have on your body. Now, this doesn't mean for women. I know most women are, not most, a lot of women are worried about the idea of having too much muscle and looking manly, or being big and muscular because of weight training. The truth of the matter is that's just not the way that most women will build muscle if they start to weight train. The majority of the people that we have, the majority of the members that we have at the pack, at Thriveology, are women, about 70% of them. Most of them are between the ages of 50 and 58. And you can ask each and every one of them. They lift weights. Most of them lift weights. They're there 3 days a week. They're there lifting weights. They're using kettlebells. They're using dumbbells. They're using trap bars. They're doing squats. They're doing bench press. They're doing things that you would think bodybuilders and powerlifters would do, but they don't look like bodybuilders and powerlifters. They look lean. They look healthy. They look like they can move. They look like they can crawl. They look like they can climb. They look like they can do those things, but they don't look like a powerlifter or a bodybuilder, because that's just not the way women especially will build, because they don't have enough testosterone to build that kind of muscle. So nonetheless, having more lean mass on your body will increase your resting metabolic rate, and also metabolic flexibility. It's going to go a long way in improving your metabolic flexibility, like we talked about. But like I said, muscle is what is active on your body. The more muscle that you have, the more active that your metabolism is going to be, the more efficient it's going to be, the more energy that it's going to be able to utilize. So weight training is the most effective way in order to do that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be external weight training. You can do body weight training. Gymnastics is definitely a great way to do that. But improving resistance, or putting resistance on your body, in some way, shape, or form, is the only way to maintain lean mass and or build lean mass on your body. That is going to be one of the best ways to improve your metabolism efficiency as you move forward. Okay, so that is myth number 1. The metabolism slows down and there's nothing we can do about it as we age. The metabolism will only slow down to the extent that you allow it to slow down. And there are 3 important things that you can do to overcome that. Your movement hygiene practice, getting up and moving on a regular basis. Every 25 minutes, set yourself a timer, get up and move. Number 2, improving your metabolic flexibility so that your body will burn a number of different substrates, carbs, fats, whatever it needs to burn in order to produce energy. And then number 3, keeping the lean mass or improving the lean mass on your body so that your metabolism is more efficient, more effective. And like I said, the best way to do that is through resistance training in some way, shape, or form. Great. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Like I said, this is myth number 1 of 12 that we're going to go over these next couple of months. If you have any questions about the metabolism, be sure to let us know below. Otherwise, let's get ready to rock 2020. Good luck to everything that you have going on. Good luck to all your goals. We did a long series on goals right before this for the last, I think, 6 weeks before the new year. So you can go back and review those if you want to remember how to set your goals correctly. Thank you so much for checking this out again. And until next time, my friends, here's to your success in fitness mastery.